FPC is a leading trade association. We lobbying and we do coordination, looking at market linkages, and currently we're working very strongly on food safety and ensuring that there's safe trade in the global space. We have refused to do the right things.
Yeah.
We assume food is made. You and I, the last time we've asked you had ugali may not be yesterday.
Yeah, true.
And two, why are we treating maize so special? When you're growing your potatoes, do you even know who buys? Does government buy potato? Does government buy potato? Does government buy wheat?
Wheat chips every day.
We have never been food secure. That I can tell you for free over years, and we're not going to be food secure any soon. So we must complement by imports.
Hi everyone, welcome to your favorite Walk the Talk show. My name is Dama and I'm your host today, and we are here with Ojepat. We want to talk about agriculture, and I hope you're sanitizing, you're wearing your masks, and keeping and following the government guidelines. So welcome Ojepat, and you're much appreciated because of your time. Thank you for taking your time to come here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so thank you. First of one of the things I actually want to ask is, what is FPC?
Thanks for that good question. FPC is a leading trade association in the fresh produce industry in the country. We bring together the fresh produce actors in the domestic, the regional, and the export and the global market. We look at fruits, vegetable, herbs, and spices, and flowers. We lobbying and we do coordination, looking at market linkages, and currently we're working very strongly on food safety and ensuring that there's safe trade in the global space. So that's what we do every day, and of course engaging with government and dialoguing with different partners and stakeholders in the value chain to ensure that we have consistent supply of quality, safe produce in the domestic, regional, and the export market.
That brings me to my question in terms of safety. Let's go back. How many Kenyans read that part, for example, fertilizer or anything that they have bought, or a produce or whatever it is they have bought, where it's written this is the way to use it? For example, pesticide or whatever it is. How many Kenyans do you think read that part?
We have a very small percentage of Kenyans who actually understand that they are supposed to read instructions on the label for every product they use. And like in the pharmaceutical side, when they write 2 by 2, it reminds you that you have to take 2 tablets in the morning and 2 tablets in the evening. In the agri-industry, it's still very low. Those who are very strict on it are the ones who are doing export-oriented products, because there's a follow-up mechanism. Standards dictated by the market, and therefore we are supposed to implement. And for that reason, we have faithfully been able to implement so that we meet the requirements of the market out there. In the domestic market, we have in the last 12 months worked very closely to 14 months worked very closely to ensure that the domestic market players really understand the value of traceability and be able to account for the product. One, we're saying, can we account for who did you sell to and whom did you buy from? So that we have one step forward and one step backwards. But on average, we're still below 20% of the level of understanding by the Kenyans that it's important for them to read the label and instructions that are given, either for pesticide, fertilizer, or even irrigation. How much water am I supposed to use and how much I need to know. Perhaps I attribute this to traditional. What used to happen is that all of us used to know that farming was the work of those guys who never went to school, those who failed, and the old. For that reason, therefore, it was given a very low attention. For now, things have changed. People now know that we must eat. We are glad that the people who are coming to the industry now are the elite, those who want to invest just like we invest in any other profession. And I anticipate in the next 24 months, we will have completely a different country that looks at requirements and looks at conditions, certain aspects before they buy or before they sell.
You know, I come from Rift Valley, where we do maize every day, and that's us, and we're the ones. Actually, we say that Rift Valley is the we are the hosts of planting maize and the food crop. What shocks me is the fact that this current budget, the last current budget, they reduced the agriculture fee. What I was just wondering is I come from a place where I know agriculture feeds the nation. I know we need to eat food. We need everybody. I mean, we can't survive without food unless we're fasting. But here we are, we've reduced the budget. What is it going to do in terms of the year 2020 and 2021? How is it going to affect your produce and the farmers in large quantities? Because you're seeing some places have been given good budget, but agriculture has really, the budget went down. So I'm just wondering, how is it going to affect the 2020 and 2021 financial year?
It's unfortunate, just like you've said rightly, that traditionally, it's like a biblical verse.
Yes.
The government institutions and government policy documents call agriculture the backbone of this country economy, and they describe how much agriculture is doing.
Yes.
But it's unfortunate that you have a backbone that you're not supporting.
Yes.
The current budget that was read, we only have 31 billion shillings allocated to agriculture out of 2.7 trillion.
Yeah.
And none of us postponed eating. Even when you are fasting, you still open with food.
That's true.
So it's unfortunate that those in the budget line have not given agriculture what it costs.
Yes.
I get complained all the time when I see internal security has been given so much budget. And I keep telling people, ordinarily, if you have food in your stomach, you have no reason to go and do crime. You have crime.
Yes.
And you give so much budget to health, it's okay.
Yeah.
Now we're having COVID here with us, and the Minister of Health every day says, go and eat well, a balanced diet. From where?
From where?
If you cannot support the growers to do that, so it becomes very unfortunate. So this is what I'm saying, is that this country is a signatory to a protocol that was in the first in Maputo Declaration, and again last year, but when our president reaffirmed, the government of Kenya committed that they will allocate 10% of its budget, of our budget, to agriculture. We are below 3%. So you do not expect agriculture to really flourish in the next few days until we change our mindset. But I'm so happy that Corona came, for lack of a better term, that we now know that we must be able to do certain things well. When Tanzania said, do not sell to Kenya, and we couldn't get a lot of imports, it is a wake-up call. So for me, it's a time for us to relook at agriculture in a totally different ballgame. And we have also been the only institution and profession that has kept Kenyans going. Now I see people selling cabbages and tomatoes in their car booths, and they're now turning the car booths into kiosks.
That's very true.
The next thing I'm going to do is to hammer them, to ask them to follow a certain standard, because you don't eat nyama through a car booth. So we want you to also follow a standard when you're selling a skuma. So it's unfortunate, that's where we are.
Thank you. That brings me now to the COVID season. As you said, when I drive home, I see people putting all the vegetables in the booth and all that. And I've come to realize that Kenyans were very resilient in terms of even the food produce that we do. I've seen you tell people, let's feed Kenya, let's have enough food. What are the lessons that farmers have learned? What is it that farmers can do better during this COVID season and maintain it? Because it was shocking to hear that we're going to import maize, and yet I come from Rift Valley, they're saying they have the maize, they just haven't sold it to the government. So is it that the government is not doing its work in terms of buying from the farmer? Or is it that the farmers do not want the price the government has given? And why are we going to import, yet we can see we have enough land?
Two things happen. Number one, we have for too long in this country been lazy. And for lack of a better term, we have refused to do the right things. We assume food is maize. That's number one. We are forgetting that you and I, the last time we've asked you had ugali may not be yesterday. I think it's taken me another 6 months without having that ugali. It doesn't make, I don't miss it because it's not the only source of food. Then two, why are we treating maize so special? When you're growing your potatoes, do you even know who buys? Does government buy potato? Does government buy potato? No. Does government buy wheat?
Yet we eat chips every day.
Does government buy wheat? Does government buy tomatoes? So why are we treating maize like it's sacred and it's the only thing? We need to liberalize and encourage contract farming between growers and the buyers,
Yes.
whether it's a factory or whether it is somebody who's just going to sell. That's what has to be done. Liberalize maize. So first of all, consider food as food. Maize is only one of them.
And
Then
it's starch.
and there's a starch, and we can get starch from all over.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, we have never been food secure. That I can tell you for free over years, and we're not going to be food secure any soon. So we must complement by imports.
Okay.
Three, our cost of production has always remained the highest in the region. For that reason, if I'm a business person, I'm better off importing and make my money than struggling with the domestic production that is too high. And this is attributed to VAT, this is attributed to all our farm inputs have had VAT for too long. That has made us more expensive than the region, and that's why you now see a lot of influx from Uganda and Tanzania, and not for any reason. For example, 90% of the pineapple you eat in Kenya come from Uganda.
And yes, I was told.
That I was told for free.
Yes, I was told.
Almost 70 to 80% of the onions you eat in Kenya come from Tanzania and Egypt into this country. We even importing some garlic from China.
Oh God.
That tells you how serious we are when it comes to gaps. So what we've done during this COVID season is, one, we have learned that the only thing you can do is food. Fruits and vegetables, you can grow them. And we have encouraged people to grow because the only assurance you have is that people must eat.
Yes.
And then we remove this mentality that you must make a kill instead of being business. Just like any other business, farming must be done the way any other business is done. And don't be in a hurry or emotional. But I can tell you, food is sacred. Food is what we do have every day. So we have encouraged our people to grow different varieties of foods, particularly the quick fruits and the vegetable, and some salads that have come to the market quickly. Even as they work on long-term crops, at least we have our vegetable in the marketplace. That's what we've done. And I continue encouraging people to do this because the only assurance we have, if we have to fight COVID-19, I will tell you, I'm told now Corona is for the village. When you call it Corona, it's more for the villagers. So when you come in town, it's called COVID-19, just to make you modernize and look like you're fashionable. But the truth is, we have then been able to realize that for people in the Ministry of Health to tell us to eat nutritious food, it means we must grow. And the easiest thing we've done is salads and herbs and vegetable, even as we now look at the starch and mid-level crops, and then headed to the other side. On the other side, the market across the world is looking for food. The entire world is stuck. So we have orders opening up. The discussion we now have is how competitive shall Kenya be when it comes to the freight charges for us to be able to get our product also to the market, so that we get revenue even as we feed our system. So it's a partnership. It's a win-win situation. But one thing I'm happy is that a reality has dawned that farming is no longer a dirty man's job. Neither is it for the dropouts and the old. And now I can see professionals calling me saying, listen, tuko na pesa kidogo, what do we do? Because now they can't rent out their buildings.
True.
They can't sell furniture. They can't sell vehicles.
They can only sell food.
They can only sell food because you must eat food. So I can continue this subject. I can talk about this subject with a lot of passion. But the only way we can be assured is, for lack of a better term, if you have food, then you're the king. If you have no food, then everybody will play around with you here. So it's important that we can be food secure. Then we can have on the table, we can sit on the table and have a conversation. But as long as we are poor and we have no food, you can't dialogue with a hungry person.
It is true. I agree. And that's one of the reasons I hear Kenyans are asking the president today, we want you to open up, we go to the village and all that. Our maize, is stuck in the farms and all that. But one of the things I have seen, because I've been able to sit at the response team Kidogo, and one of the things we were asking people, everybody, when you ask people why is it that you really want this lockdown to be open, and they were saying heri nikufe na corona kuliko nikufe na njaa. So where did we miss it? Where did we miss the gap? Because my reasoning is, if we had a lot of food, perhaps the president would have given it a lockdown. The people in town, right now in our groups, I see people now having this, gunia and putting skuma, trying to grow just at the garden and trying to, after all, they just want to get food because they're not even sure. And there's this also logic that we are getting this terere mboga from the sewage again. So how are we going to assure people that whatever it is they're buying from these people on the side of the road is sufficient, it's good, and it's healthy for them? Because I remember when CS Kagwe was in Nyeri, he mentioned and said, even mama mboga as you are, if you touch that mboga, you might have left COVID, and then the next person and the next person, and you've not worn your mask and all that. So how are we going to make sure that the people on the side roads, or these people who've come up now and they want to do this business, agriculture, as you've said, it's the only thing right now that is achievable. It's the only thing that people can do right now and really make money out of it. It's the only businesses, considering that really, really people have lost their jobs. I know my hairdresser just turned her car into a booth for selling fruits. In fact, there's one, I knew she was very good in printing. Right now, she's gone into the same. Now, when she goes to Marikiti and all that, still people are not wearing their masks and people are not keeping the distance. What is it that we're going to tell the Kenyans for them to start working on this, even as we do this, and protect them? Because there's no need of me buying that burger and I get COVID again and then I die.
Two things will happen. Number one, we must professionalize, and I look at agriculture as a profession,
yes,
and a business like any other business, and do it as a business. Work out your figures,
yes,
and then let's allow the professionals to advise.
Yes, yes.
It's only in agriculture that I find a few guys giving you a lecture and they don't know that I went to school. And we all went to school,
yes,
and sat and are subject specialist in our area.
Yes.
I respect what the Ministry of Health is doing, and they are getting all the specialists. How many specialists have you consulted and your friends consult when you come to farming? So it starts from foundation.
Yeah.
We don't know the soil state by the time we started. When you go to the medical facility, they will tell you go and take a sample, and then the lab bring it back, and then after that, then they'll tell you, listen, we've checked. How many times do you test our soils?
That's the thing I want to.
So it starts with the basic, the soil, nutrition.
Yes.
Look at the seed you're going to plant. Look at the agronomical practices you need to do, so that you can be able to produce that 1 ton of maize in that unit area, of beans or cabbage or tomatoes. It is professional. So first, we need to revive the extension services in this country, both from the government perspective in terms of the public and the private. That discussion is going on, but we have now a drop in the sea when it comes to service providers. However, when it comes to what you say that COVID is spread through food, I disagree for 2 reasons. One, ordinary food is eaten after being well cooked. So if you wash your hands, you wash your food with potable water, then you cooked your food well. Where are we having a convergence? I mean, if we follow the real
government protocols.
Unfortunately, we also have a team that is currently not sure about safety. What people are looking at is availability. Can I get food? Then let's have a conversation of safety later. So we are better off dealing with food availability than food safety. So it's a tricky situation. That we're in a country where there are people who cannot afford the next meal. As we talk, they don't know the next meal. So when you talk to them about safety, they're wondering, what is this you're telling me about safety?
Yes, let's start with, I need food. I just need that food.
There is need for those who are producing food to be logical enough and to be ethical enough to be very sure that I've bought this food. But can I ask a question? Where was the source of this food? So that the issue of sewage can be addressed through what we call a traceability system. If I'm able to account where I've got food from, how it was transported to the marketplace, then I can sell it to Dama, because I know this food is good, just like your baby. You can't sell poison to them. So when I hear people make noise about, oh, we are eating poison, or we are doing this, then it's you poisoning your fellow Kenyans. So it's important that we tone down, sober up, and accept that there's need for us to account. Have you seen the way people go to the chemist and ask this and this, and at the pharmacy, in most cases, you will be asked, where's the prescription? How many times did you go to buy fertilizer and you were asked for prescription?
I just do Mavuno fertilizer, so I don't know, you know.
Even when you buy your fertilizer,
Mavuno,
what is the rationale why you're buying that fertilizer? So it's important that we get to agree that agriculture is a science and is a profession that needs to be respected, and allow the professionals to advise you. Now, coming back to what are we doing is how do we encourage farmer groups in town, even when you're doing your kitchen garden, please sort technical advice.
Yeah.
We are all available.
Yes.
We can always tell you, listen, on this one, you need to do this soil, you need to do this. And if you have to do any nutrition, this is the nutrition value, this is what you need to do. Because let me bring this other joke around. I hear people say, use manure. And when manure, our family had manure, later manure yang ng'ombe, bring it here, put it. That's okay. Who tells you a cow is a factory that produces, that adds nutrients on your?
I don't know.
If you eat grass, manure bring you dung that has nutrients that were in the grass.
The grass.
So if the cow ate a nutritive food, then they will give you dung that is more nutritive. If not,
okay, I see.
the food
If they eat whatever
whatever they eat is what they give you. How do you expect them to manufacture?
Okay,
I want to let you know that please, there's a lot of detail that we need to discuss about it. But listen, we also need to be real. Let's stop this plastic business.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Yes.
I mean, life is real. Why are we so complicated?
We need to advise the president.
Just be real.
Yes. And go back and talk about it.
Dama, let me bring this here. When you want to do your books of accounts, what do? You look for an accountant?
I look for an accountant, of course.
When you have medical issues, what do?
I go to the doctor.
When you have legal issues, what do?
I go to the lawyer.
So when it comes to agriculture?
I call my dad. Who, of course, is...
So how do you expect success?
Yeah, I agree.
When you have your car,
definitely
what are you looking for?
Yeah, a mechanic.
You're not just looking for any mechanic.
I look for a specialist.
When you have a puncture, when you want fuel, when you want this. So when it comes to agriculture, why do I want to
just take shortcuts? Yet it's something that is going into my body. And that brings me to the question, cancer.
Yes.
You know, where I come from, they said, I remember there was a man who came and talked to the village. I think he was a health communicator or whatever, from the health ministry. I think so. At that time, I don't know. I was still young. But then here he was saying, let's not take, we take a lot of mursik in my village. And they said, and then the next time they were complaining because we had a lot of throat cancer and people. And they're saying it's because of this mursik that we drink. However, when I look back at Mzee, he used to drink a lot of mursik. He died at a very old age. Same to my grandfather and all that. Now, one of the things they said is because we Kalenjins, and I know the Kikuyus also do that back in the village, and Kisis and Luyas, they give the maize, the bad maize, after we harvest the maize, there's the good maize and the bad maize. So they go and then they give it to they give the cow the bad maize. As you say, the rotten maize. So as you said, whatever it is that you give it, and then of course I will drink it. It's mursik, it's mala. But now that brings me to the question. We've really had this conversation about cancer. We've had about the soil. What is it? Is it the air? Is it the air that we breathe? Is it the soil? Is it the foods that we eat that has wrong pesticides? Or what is it that is causing us? Because nowadays we're told, this causes cancer. I don't think I've not had anything that doesn't cause cancer. But more it goes back to the food that we are eating. So again, back to, is it the Ministry of Health, or is it the Ministry of Agriculture, or is it the FPC that hasn't been doing well, or is it the communication, or what is it that we've done wrong until we don't get it right and we end up with so many cancer cases?
Two things happen. Just like you said rightly, now everything causes cancer. The other day I had people say, even if you took hot tea, it causes cancer. Hot tea. I don't know whether you've seen the joke around.
No, I've not.
There's a joke around that you take hot tea.
Yes, I saw it, yes.
It causes cancer.
Oh God, okay.
You and I come from a village where you needed to eat hot food.
Yes, that's true.
As a sign of freshness, prepared, brought here.
Yes.
To my lawyer friends, if it's tea is not proper tea and from that big birika, it's not tea.
It's not tea.
So how much cancer was with them? Those years. This is it. One, it's just our lifestyle. Number one, we're just careless as a people. We have refused to account for our life. I'll tell you, Dama, today, your number one responsibility is to take care of this body of yours. How to dress, what to eat, to take shower. That's your number one responsibility. Now, the way you go to the pharmacy looking for your medicine. What do? You're looking for the best physician. You are going there, then they give you a prescription, and you follow instructions to the letter.
Because I want to get better.
Okay. Which one is more important? Eating good food.
If I started eating good food, I would not end up at a doctor.
By God's grace, I have not been to hospital The longest I went to hospital because one time I had an accident.
Oh,
I have no medical history.
Yeah,
I don't know it.
Because of
I eat my
eating
good
right.
food. I'm sure I eat well.
Eating right.
And I've been this way for the longest.
your
Now,
family
two
because of
things
that.
are happening. One, we are demonizing pesticides to be the ones causing cancer. Question: when you go to the farthest part of Ganse in coast,
Yes.
they don't even access
Any pesticide. That's true.
but people are dying of cancer.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's not demonize. Let's be disciplined.
Yes.
Let's follow. When it comes to pesticide, the discussion of pesticide is that pesticide is one of the most regulated industry in the world.
Okay.
In the world. By the time you get a molecule in Kenya, it will have gone through between 6 to 12 years of research.
Wow.
It's documented.
Okay.
And it has different levels of agreement.
Yeah.
There is an admission and withdrawal, with documented. For example, in Kenya, by law, you cannot register a product in Kenya that is not registered in the country of origin.
Oh, okay.
It means that it must have been registered at the country of origin. It is being used there before it's brought to Kenya.
Okay.
It goes through a test, it goes through verification before it's admitted. And there's a protocol of admission, a protocol of withdrawal. However, there are clear instructions of how to use.
Which we don't read.
When you are told to take Panadol, let me go back to
1 times 1.
1 times 1. What do you do? 1
I do 1 times 1. I can't over. Yes,
how many times do we look at pesticide and you're told spray today and harvest after 5 days? We want to spray today and harvest tomorrow. Take it to the market when it's still very fresh and it has no dudus, because that's what Dama is going to ask for. Because when you see dudus, you say that is wrong, and the supermarkets or the grocery loses business because wanauzia nyinyi dudu.
Oh yeah.
Are we getting?
Yes.
So let's be sober.
Yes.
Let's approach this conversation. Let's discuss one step at a time and stop emotional and stop this thing. I'm seeing people with a lot of clips around. Oh, Kenya is, this food is sacred. Dama, let me finish at that point and say, listen here. Do you want to tell me, in normal senses, under normal circumstances, a country called Kenya, in her senses, will admit pesticide here that will kill her citizens?
No, definitely not. That one I can stand.
So why don't we have a conversation and discuss scientifically what we want, and move? But this is my hope. The only business that's left in the world is food. Because man must eat. As long as it's childbirth, they shall be eaten.
Yes. A quick one before we wind up. I know our time is almost up. Lake Turkana. Yes. I sat with one of the people from Lake Turkana. And I know Lake Turkana can feed us. My pastor keeps saying, Turkana will feed us one day. Yeah. And I know we have enough. So is it that we are not going to Turkana because it has the biggest lake, it has fish. I can see fish they sell at 10 shillings and all that. And people are actually exporting the fish from there to China and to Uganda. When I remember when the president went to Uganda with a team, he was kind of embarrassed that Ugandans are doing so well with the fish business, yet we have a whole lake in Turkana and they're picking our fish from this other side. So is it that we are not managing very well, or what is it? Because fish farming, I know a friend of mine who removes all the fish and fingerlings and sends from Kirigiti all the way to Uganda, all the way to China. So is it that we are used to beef only, or we need to also go to that other side of eating? I love fish.
I'll be very candid with you. We have just refused.
So we've refused to do it.
And two things. Our priorities are wrong. And I will attribute this also to what I will call corruption of the highest level, because you want to block certain things so that you can get money, and you can dominate, you can bar people from doing anything, so you can sell to them. Then you have more money. Because logically, we have a lake in Turkana that can feed this country according to statistics. Why can't we have one borehole in every other constituency?
That is exactly what I wanted to
feed the people, if our priorities is not right. Now, let me tell you this. In the current budget, assuming the government decides we want to do boreholes in every place where boreholes must be done.
Or dams,
You do boreholes, and then now it has just been raining. All the water is going to Indian Ocean as if we have a contract with Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
So why don't, and then we have the military that
Yes.
have the entire equipment.
Yes.
Why don't we use
you
that
just
equipment?
to deal
So
with it?
isn't that just refusing?
Okay.
If the men and
Is it the
women,
wrong people advising?
if the men and women who are in strategic positions can be candid enough,
Yes.
and tell the leadership and the presidents and say, listen, this is what we want. And professionally, the medical people have told the president, these are the protocols the president has followed.
So we need to just do
we just need to be
agriculture
candid.
and tell the president, here we are, let's talk about agriculture, let's bring food to the table because this is what...
And have the right.
I hope he's listening.
Listen, I will say it without fear of contradiction.
Yes.
We have just refused to fix our food security because somebody is benefiting. Because why will you deny?
Yeah, okay. And as we've been told by the CEO of FPC, please, when you're going to buy that product, take time and read about it. If you're going to buy any other thing in the market, please make sure that you read about it, make sure that you take all the details that are necessary, follow the protocols. And to you, our president, we salute you, we honor you, we hope that you've had this conversation, and we hope that you will bring us into this conversation where we have food and agriculture, so that next time there's a pandemic like this, we're able to feed our country, and we're able to feed our own people. We don't have these people saying, oh, we don't have food for the table. So thank you very much. God bless you. See you again. Thank you.